Bernie Sanders is taking the lead in the latest Emerson poll, and the Vermont senator is now out with a new ad. Plus, AOC has raised more money than Nancy Pelosi or any other House Democrat.
Amazing. We are back with Will Jawando, Democratic strategist and council member at large, and Rachel Bovard, senior director of policy at the Conservative Partnership Institute. So let's start with this Emerson poll of New Hampshire, because this was kind of a big deal. It's also funny because the New York Times just came out with this piece that's like, oh, Bernie's struggling in New Hampshire. Yet, here he is, leading the field, 26%. Very strong showing for him. And, you know, Rachel, we try not to take any one poll too seriously, but there's no doubt in the national polls, in the early state polls over the last several weeks, Bernie has really seen a resurgence.
Yeah, he's capitalizing, I think, on the grassroots that have been there for him for a long time. And again, we talk about authenticity all the time. Bernie's been saying the same stuff for a really long time. That resonates with people. And I think especially in the Northeast, you know, that's his territory.
Yeah.
And so I think you're seeing his surge. I think it's going to last. But don't worry, guys. Obama's going to come take him out.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true. Save that. Don't
We're going to get to that.
Yeah,
Hold that thought.
I'll be leaving for that.
You're going to recuse yourself.
I mean, it is bad. I mean, here's the thing, though. With Biden in those numbers, again, I mean, I ask everybody this, Will, how can you survive? I think he will, but like coming through Iowa, I think he's going to get third or fourth. New Hampshire, he's in third. He could get fourth there. I mean, if you get fourth place in the two first states, and then maybe somewhere first or second in Nevada, is that enough for the African-American community in South Carolina to continue backing him?
Well, I think he has to hold on to second or third, which is possible in these states. I think
fourth is bad.
Yeah, fourth is bad. I mean,
fourth is bad.
You know, fourth is bad. I mean, you're
off the podium.
And it's human nature to want to pick a winner, and there will be shifting, and we saw that. We've seen that in those two states. But I think if you can hold on second or third in both of those places, and then get to Nevada and South Carolina, then he's got a real shot at getting through. I mean, it's the weathering strategy that we've talked about with Biden.
I do think this is important because these early states, right, people freak out about them. But again, this is a calculated strategy on people lagging in the polls. They want to win and break out. But for these top tier candidates, again, you just got to stay and keep the momentum.
Yeah.
Because is Iowa, this is my biggest pet peeve every election, is it the biggest shiny object in politics?
Yeah.
Right? People chase the ring, but it's like, guys, we got a lot of polls here.
Yeah.
We got a lot of states.
Yeah. There's
Michael
a lot
Bloomberg
of ground to cover.
let the mask slip whenever he was like, yeah, Iowa, I don't really care about Iowa.
Yeah.
And Iowans freaked out. Like, what are you talking about? And it was like, someone was like, yeah, it's almost like it's a non-inconsequential, non-swing state.
If you have all that
with
money,
a very white population.
Let's not forget, I think Michelle Bachmann did really well in Iowa
She did.
one year.
Yeah. Rick Santorum. Didn't Santorum win Iowa? There you go.
Yeah, that was I
Mike
remember
Huckabee.
that
It's important.
moment.
It's important. I don't want anyone to like.
Look, he parlayed that right into a CNN contributorship gig. So doesn't mean nothing, guys.
It depends what your outcome here is.
I think this is also interesting. If we could throw the New Hampshire numbers back up again, you've got Tulsi and Yang, the other two sort of anti-establishment outsider candidates, doing really well. Tulsi's at 6%, Yang's at 5%. And I mean, this is part of why I love New Hampshire. And you put those numbers together with Sanders, this is like the anti-establishment sort of consensus. That's a pretty sizable amount of the population who is really looking for something different. Of course, New Hampshire has a tradition and a culture of sort of being independent-minded, being a little contrarian. So I just thought that was an interesting note, too, that those two candidates were performing so well here.
Live free or die.
I've always, live free or die. And like I said, when you have a state representative every quarter block, you know, as they do, they have 400 some people in their state house for a population that's really teeny. I mean, that activism and that live free or die spirit in New Hampshire, even though it's a homogeneous state, like it's still there.
I think it's not quite as bad as Iowa, but it's up there. Yeah. At the same time, Bernie Sanders has a new ad out. This is going to be hitting the airwaves in Iowa. Let's take a look at that.
Bernie is a very rare egg in Washington. He's honest. Through his whole career, he has fought for our cases. Bernie fights for the average Joe. That's the thing I like about him the most. He's not there for Wall Street. He's not there for Hollywood. He's not there for big oil or big pharma or big anybody. It's big us. And I'm good with big us.
I'm Bernie Sanders, and I approve this message.
You know, Rachel, honestly, I didn't love some of Bernie's other ads. I thought this one was really strong and captured sort of the essence of his campaign's message.
Yeah, so it's working class, right? Yeah. I'm speaking to middle America, I'm speaking to the heartland, and that's exactly what that ad did. I thought it resonated very well.
It was a good ad.
No, I agree. I mean, it's consistent. Look, you've gotten a raw deal. You know, it's hard. a lot of people know that whether you're on the right or the left, you know that it's tough now. And he that's been his appeal. And he actually smiled. I mean, so for Bernie, it was a very hopeful message. He wasn't angry.
Wait, I didn't check. Was he Botox Bernie?
No, yeah.
Smooth Bernie. We've extensively covered that.
We've already covered that.
I even asked his national press secretary about it, which is embarrassing.
The final thing we should talk about, because this is, for people in D.C., this is crazy. So AOC fundraising numbers are out. She has $1.4 million in the bank through July through September. That's more than House Speaker Nancy Pelosi in a single quarter. Rachel, not a single dollar. She never had to dial once for a dollar, unlike her 434 compatriots. Just as somebody who's been here, you understand the game. Just talk about how much of a change that is in how politics works.
It's a huge change,
right.
And we saw this a little bit on the right. My current boss, Senator Jim DeMint, founded Senate Conservatives Fund for this exact thing on the right, to be a disruptor, to tap into that disaffected base of the party that's unhappy with the establishment and how they're running things. And I think that is very much happening in the Democrats right now.
Yeah.
You see the establishment Democrats versus I think the populist grassroots like AOC. She's going to raise a ton of money, and look out. We saw this on the right, and it's give me the popcorn. I'm excited to watch it.
It's good leverage. It's good leverage for her because she can say, well, she never had to walk across the DNC and sit in that booth and dial for dollars for hours. That's what so many of these people. That's what they do all day is raise money.
It's really a testament to. There is power in the people. And if you can connect in a real way and tap into people who are disaffected, there's money out there to be raised. Bernie has done it. Obama did it in his day with the small donors. And I think it's heartening for the long term. We need to reform our finance system, of course, and look to more low dollar public financing options. But I will say, obviously, Pelosi, the numbers are a little off in that she's raising a ton of money around the country for a lot of people.
She's raising like $100
but
million.
it's still an amazing feat.
But to be the number one fundraiser out of all the Democrats as a freshman without picking up the phone once, to me it just exposes the lie that we've been fed that there's no other way. And that's the thing that Democrats have always said is like, we want campaign finance reform, but we got to play the game. We're not going to unilaterally disarm. That's the language that they always use. AOC, among others, shows that there is another way that is actually more powerful in a lot of ways than the traditional.
Well, and I do think it sets up kind of what a concerning feature, I think, which is the party organizations themselves are sort of not legitimate anymore. They are, but they're sort of cast to the wayside.
I think you're right.
And this is a huge outcome of Citizens United that we don't really talk about. But look at it on the right now, right? The biggest money politics, you have the Conservatives, Senate Conservatives Fund, House Freedom Fund, versus Mitch McConnell's Congressional Leadership Fund or Senate Leadership Fund or whatever it is, right?
Senate leadership,
the party organizations don't even have a say anymore, really. It's just these two poles of power fighting it out. And I think you're going to start to see this on the left.
And we covered
that's a really
the
great
DNC
point.
Has like
$7 million in debt and $8 million in the bank.
You're right. So they really have like $1 million. So like I think AOC alone has more money than they do.
I want to say though, I think this heralds the new era of politics because AOC 100%, small dollar donations. Bernie Sanders, massive amounts of money. They beat everybody out in the last quarter. But listen, Donald Trump, it's the same thing. $153 million in the bank. 98% of those donations are less than $200, and I think 98% of them can continue to give money over and over again. Huge amounts of recurring donations, which is that if you're a Mitt Romney type candidate and you're not generating real grassroots, low, small dollar support, it's over for you. I do not think you can ever compete in this country again.
I'd agree with that, but let's also not put to bed the elephant in the room, no pun intended, that this huge loophole that Citizens United has created with these huge super PACs and big corporate money that is still there, could come into AOC's district or anywhere else and just blow that $1.4 million away.
Absolutely.
And that's going to continue to be a problem. But it does show us, to your point, Crystal, that there's another way. There is a grassroots, people-centered way if we could close this up.
And that's the biggest red flag for Joe Biden, that he has no
small dollar.
He needs that PAC. That's the PAC's going to spend a whole bunch of money in Iowa.
Only 35% of his donations or something like that are less than $200. He's the lowest in the entire field. Even Pete has more small dollar.
People are all maxed out. They've gone, the well is dry. So bring in the super PACs. All right, thank you both.
Sit tight, guys. Thank you. Tomorrow on Rising, my conversation with the former governor, Bill Weld, why he went from supporting the president to running against him.
And College Pulse CEO Taryn Klein is going to join us for an in-depth discussion about which Democratic candidate has the most crossover support among college students. We always love talking to him. Listen, everyone, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Enjoy your friends. Enjoy your family. I hope the day is lovely for you, and we'll see you back here soon.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.